So real quick, marriage architects, we're all about helping couples build a dream marriage. So a dream marriage is one thing it is a nurturing place to find ultimate fulfillment. And that's what Tawnya suggested, that we have looked out there for stuff that didn't, we just weren't satisfied with. And we wanted to create a curriculum that leads to greater connection, greater intimacy, and greater fulfillment in life in general. But through marriage, we discovered that you can really find quite a bit of fulfillment. Just and so the way that you fulfill or create your dream marriage is a blueprint. So that's why I want you guys to be taking really good notes throughout the 8 sessions, because at the end you're going to have we're going to give you a document to document your dream marriage, which is basically a strategic plan for creating it. So we're all about enrichment, transformation, and communication facilitation. So typically when our clients come to us, this is the focus they have. What are you doing? Can I have that? Can I have that open?
It's just for the recording.
Okay. So we suggest that this is the wrong focus. So people are, she's focused on him, he's focused on her in the wrong way. Like it's all his fault, it's all her fault. And so what we know is that doesn't work. And we have this shame blame cycle. So, there's all this like resentment, which is, I'm blaming her for all of our problems. And that's just shutting her down, and it's creating shame. And then she's going to hide who she really is. And what we want to create is something that's more transparent. And so this is going forward, sort of a covenant in this group is this is a shame-free zone. There's no room for shame in anything. So, we have this unconditional acceptance rule. So to get off of that cycle, you got to take the focus off of her and focus on this dream marriage. So that's why the dream marriage is so important. And it does, again, it leads to greater connection, intimacy, and fulfillment through oneness. So if we can get you focused on the dream, then it helps to take the focus off of your spouse. And when you start focusing on your spouse and how to create that, and you notice here, it's a back and forth arrow. So if I'm focused on creating the dream, I have to think about, okay, what do I have to be? Who do I have to be? How do I have to be? What kind of state do I have to be in? What kind of contribution do I have to bring? How do I have to grow to create this dream marriage? And so it's me attracting this marriage and becoming what it is. And at the same time, she's doing that. And as we both do that together, something really cool and miraculous happens. So how to have a dream marriage? The key to fulfillment in life is experiencing massive growth and contribution. And as I said, you all have growth and contribution very high on your 6 human needs. And by the way, we'll break down the human needs, I think, on our first session, the first one that we'll schedule. But for now, just know that growth and contribution is where it's at, because that is what creates ultimate fulfillment for humanity, for human beings. And what if your marriage becomes your reason to continually grow? Because people find things to contribute in and grow in, but if you make that your marriage, then something really cool can happen. And it's spouse focused rather than self focused, as that illustration showed. So this gives you the ability to connect and communicate with absolute caring and love. So it's really a powerful tool. So we'll keep working on that. But again, the way to fulfillment is growth and contribution in marriage. So this dream marriage, it's like a perpetual thing, right? If I grow, if I think about, okay, what do I have to do? What do I have to become? What state do I have to bring to create that and attract that dream marriage? I have to grow to do that. And then I have more to give. And my marriage begins to grow. And then my spouse begins to grow. So this thing just like kind of builds and builds. And then my spouse, as she grows, she has more to give. And then when we're doing this thing reciprocally, it really comes alive. And then it just keeps going. It's perpetual. And so by nature, by default, there's the the law of thermodynamics that says things tend to like deteriorate over time, including marriages, and everything deteriorates over time. So you have to have some antidote to that. And if you're not working on your marriage, it's going to deteriorate. So if you follow this cycle, though, it can actually continually grow. And so we've experienced that, and some of the people we've been working with have been experiencing that, and it's really powerful. Anything to add?
No.
All right, so what we suggest is you kind of use our marriage tools and just marriage best practices. Bring a passionate state to your marriage, because if you got two people that are kind of negative and down and pessimistic and blaming, what kind of marriage are they going to have? Even if you have one person in the marriage, but if you have two people in the marriage that are bringing things down, they're going to have a negative and kind of bringing me down kind of marriage. But if you bring two people that are passionate and just like bringing a passionate state and kind of energy that's positive, if you have two people that are doing that, what kind of marriage are they going to have? There's no doubt about it. They're going to have a passionate and exciting marriage. So if you control your state, if you think about the state of being that you are being, and then also make your focus contribution to, like, I need to find out what are her 6 human needs and see if I can fulfill them as much as possible. If I can just light her up and bring everything I can to making her completely fulfilled, completely all of her needs met in every way. If I can just study her, become a student of her, and then meet her needs, and that becomes my focus, it's a very positive thing to focus on. Meaning that?
Yeah, and it's not about, like it sometimes can seem kind of overwhelming when you think about it, but really don't, it's all about your intention and, focusing on those needs. Like when we figured this out and Scott started focusing on a need that I needed met instead of his needs, it really did make a huge shift in our marriage. And then I turned around and started being like, okay, well, what does he need? And prior to that, we both were like, I want my needs met and you're not meeting my needs. So I'm just going to go and, you can do whatever you need to do. But it wasn't a good thing. And so, but once we figured that out and knew what each other's needs were, it really helped us, be able to, focus on contributing to the other person. And it's reciprocal, like he said.
Yeah, if you do what we were doing, then if you noticed on the Facebook group page that we posted the 4 different levels of marriage, and we were in that roommates, we were more on the partners, because there's a lot of love and respect here. But we were in that partner range to roommate range, and it was very transactional, and really that's not unconditional love. Unconditional love doesn't exist in transactions. It's, if you think about a baby, your newborn baby, all the way up to toddler, what does that baby have to do to earn your love, to earn your growth and contribution to that baby? Nothing. They don't do anything. So if you could apply that same logic to your spouse, it's powerful. And I love this analogy. If you're potty training your toddler, they go from diapers to pull-ups, and they're like, okay, try and get the pee into the toilet, right? You can do it. And they go so far to actually say, oh, I gotta go, Mommy, I gotta go potty. And you take them to the toilet, and then they pee all over the toilet and on the wall, and they get a little bit into the toilet. You don't say, you stupid idiot, what are you doing? You didn't pee in the toilet. I can't believe you did that. You don't blame them for it, right? It's unconditional love, and they don't have to do anything to earn that love. And you would say, oh, look at you, got a little bit of pee in the toilet. That's awesome. But we don't treat our spouses that way. And what if we do, right? What if we just say, okay, I know you have positive intent, and I know that you mean to get everything in the toilet. You got a little bit in the toilet. I really appreciate your effort on that. Obviously we're not.
Yeah,
it's like.
But it's the intention. It's the trying, and that needs to be recognized instead of, well, that's not, because we were in a phase, and I know a lot of couples have been there where it's like, well, that's just not good enough.
Mm-hmm. Like
Um,
there's nothing, I felt like I couldn't win, and she felt the same way. Like I want to play a game where I can actually win. And we were both set ourselves up for, there's no way we could win with each other. And that's transactional. So anyways, we'll talk more about getting off of that over time. All right, so again, the way to fulfillment is dream marriage. So meeting those 6 human needs through marriage. And the key to fulfillment is experiencing massive growth and contribution. And if you have a reason to continually grow, you have, there's this drive, there's this leading to grow, and then contribute to whatever it is that's important to you. If you make this your marriage, that will create a dream marriage. But that's just the tool to get there. The path to get there is make your marriage the reason to continually grow. And if both partners do this at the same time, that's where that reciprocity comes in, and that perpetual, what we like to describe it as, you have Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and there's that self-actualization. But beyond self-actualization is transcending, like almost like another. It's a spirit realm thing, and when you have both spouses doing this with each other, it really can be miraculous. So here's another thing. There's a miracle that happens when one person goes first. So let's say, we actually do work with just one spouse at a time. If their husband or wife isn't on board, it still can work. So you have to be able to connect and communicate with absolute caring and love with your spouse, even when they've hurt you or been unfair with you, but it will still work. So if one person tries, if one person takes the challenge to just go ahead and meet all of those needs, find out, study them, and just say, okay, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to make sure that they have no reason to feel like their needs aren't met if I have anything to say about it. And the typical response is reciprocation. But, even if the person isn't on board, it can still work. So it's a very powerful process. All right, so again, take notes, take good notes throughout this course. Look for commitments and actions you wrote, because we're going to be asking you, we have 8 sessions to go through, and we're going to be asking you to make commitments and take actions. There's a lot of exercises and homework that we're going to have you go through. And then we'll give you a marriage blueprint prep worksheet, and we'll put that on the Facebook page today. And then you're going to complete the marriage blueprint prep worksheet with your spouse at the end, and then you'll be able to make a blueprint template. So here's what the blueprint looks like. And we suggest blowing this up real big so you can put it on a wall and look at it. We have ours in our closet, in our master bedroom closet. But this will be super easy if you take notes throughout. So don't worry about this right now. I just want to give you a visual to see what it looks like. In the process of going through the 8 sessions, though, take good notes, and we'll give you a worksheet that'll help you make this really easy at the end. So again, focusing on the dream marriage. We're going to be continually talking about that. So before I move on. So here's a little overview of what we'll be going through in the 8 sessions, and then we'll get right into scheduling these sessions. So you can see here, this is the path to achieving intimacy and fulfillment. And this symbol for us, it symbolizes the dream marriage. So this is the path to get to the dream marriage as well. So our 8 sessions, we're going to spend 2 sessions on attitude, 2 on awareness, 2 on acceptance. And this is really the heavy lifting stuff. This is the foundational stuff. And the thing that everybody wants to get to is attraction and awakening. We're going to spend 1 session on attraction and 1 session on awakening. And really, this is where that passion and that intimacy and connection really starts to take hold, and you just start, experiencing just greater intimacy. For us, in our 25 years together, we're just experiencing the greatest intimacy that we've ever. I didn't even know that there was levels of intimacy that we're on now. So just experiencing it is amazing. So, but to get there, we do have to do the work of attitude, awareness, and acceptance. So when you think about attitude, that is, mindset, the state of being you're bringing to the relationship. the way you're thinking about how do I attract that dream marriage. And it really is about focusing on who do I need to be. It's about, it's about not so much focusing on what's wrong with her, but what's wrong with me. And then awareness is who am I? Really understanding this. The assessments that we had you take really apply to awareness, and like having an understanding of what it is that I bring to this, what's my strengths, what's my weaknesses, and also understanding her. So I got to understand myself to be able to serve her. And then I really want to just understand her and become a student in her and just really know her as good as I can. And understanding and awareness is about not necessarily agreeing with her, because we're total opposites. She has
polar opposite,
such different thinking than I do on so many things. So I don't necessarily have to understand her thinking. I just have to have an awareness of how she feels about it. I mean, I should say I do want to understand her thinking. I don't have to agree with it. So how she thinks, how she feels about everything. So we get to this place where we're able to share, stuff without taking it personally, without making it a fight or a big deal, and just for the purpose of having connection. Like if I understand her better than she understands herself, I can help her become aware of her own self, and vice versa. It's a beautiful thing. And then acceptance. The heart of our curriculum is unconditional acceptance. And for time, we'll talk about more of those things later on, but we'll get right into attitude in the first two sessions.